wonder, Christine, when I look at you and a lot of other people who look at you, the Christine we see today, is that the Christine that always was? Or was there a journey of owning your voice and visibility and stepping into such a senior leadership role? Did you, what was the influence, or what was that like for you?
Yeah, Tanvi, it's a big question, right? It's about the journey, and it's really interesting. Owning my voice as a speaker is really a parallel to owning my voice as a leader. I would say, many years ago, and a lot of it is through making mistakes and being, I'm quite a reflective person. I'm very focused on growth, on personal growth and continuing to learn, and so I do reflect and continually sort of pivot and develop. But I think over the time that the shift for me has been around doing me. And in that, I mean that I think earlier in my career, I've always been quite confident, and, fairly energetic and comfortable speaking, in a way, fairly extroverted. But I had a sense when I was younger, particularly, that, I needed to act a certain way to be credible. And so, there was a need to be no nonsense and serious and, a little more aggressive and I think as I have progressed, what I have learned is that where I am at my most successful is when I'm truly myself. And while I do have a confidence and a certain sort of strength, I also bring, empathy and a humor, and I like to make fun of myself, and I have a quirkiness sometimes, and some of those things are a little sort of eclectic, and I've come to be comfortable with bringing all of me to my work, to my speaking, and certainly to my leadership. And I found that audiences and my teams engage on that level. If you are natural and authentic and have vulnerabilities and show those, there's a credibility around that where you can really not only engage but you're believable. I certainly think also earlier, I was more intimidated by the world. There is always, and that's all I used to see, there's always someone who's smarter or more experienced or more subject matter expert or better speaker or whatever. And those things were intimidating for me. Whereas now, there are still people that are all of that, but I tend to now focus on what I have to say, and I'll say it the best I can, and I'm here because someone invited me, so there's merit in that, and I just need to be myself. And that has been an enormous journey for me to get to that comfort level where none of it's perfect and there are a million people better, but I have something to offer, and I'll do it in the style which is truly me. And I found that has been a very, very successful sort of strategy as I've gone on.
Again, we could explore each of those threads in so much detail. I in particular, I think this bit about comparing yourself with people who are speaking better or knowing more, it's always there, because you're observing them and learning from these people, but you're also comparing, like, I wish I was more of this or any of that. And there was a very beautiful quote I once read, which really stayed back with me, which said that if the only birds that sang in the forest were the ones who sang perfectly, the wood would be very quiet indeed. And I thought about that many times. That, I'm not perfect, and hence I have no right to speak or have no, that's not even the point. The point is you have something to say, and your way of saying it and your owning it in the saying of it is valuable in its own right. If you want
absolutely
others to value it, if you want others to value it, you begin by valuing it yourself. Right?
And look, we were talking about it earlier, the research around the, it's called imposter syndrome, that, that many unbelievably credentialed women, you know, have, in that there's a tendency to see what I don't have or I haven't done or is not on my resume, as opposed to what I bring, you know, with the experience and knowledge that I have. And so we've just got to, I would say, we've just got to like get over it, right? We've just got to step up and do you know, it is extraordinary to think that today, you know, with all that we've achieved in the world and the people that you work with, the women who are making great strides in careers and in business, there's so much that's being done that's positive, but we still make up such a small percentage of, you know, board membership and senior executives. And speaking, you know, we started off talking about the speaking circuit. I understand that around 70% of speakers at conferences in the world are men. They call them manels. I mean, you often are at industry things where it's just like a whole lot of men on panels. And the Singapore, where we're sitting today, is actually higher than that in terms of the ratio of men. Now, there's one or two industries where it's more female education, fundraising are two of them, but generally, women are not putting themselves forward. Companies aren't promoting their women to move into, you know, to these speaking engagements. And I think that there's still a lot that we need to do ourselves about putting ourselves forward, but also having a focus on diversity as, you know, as we put together conferences and engagements where audiences are coming, because again, we need more role models. We need more women to be on the stage so other women know that that's what you do.
Yeah, you know, I can't help it. I do so much storytelling, and everything you say, it sparks a story, and I want to share it because I wonder whether I forget it. But I had one very senior woman leader call me once, because she had pointed to someone that they were all male speakers at the conference. And they did what very often happens when you point it out, is they turned to her and said, well, why don't you come and speak? And she said, that's not even the point. The point is you need more women speakers. And I said, yeah, but we do want you to come and speak. It was an oversight. And she called me, she said, do you think I should speak? Because I don't want to be the woman speaker. Like, why did they not think of me? They should have invited me. Now, only when I pointed out they want me to come and talk, I don't want to be the diversity candidate. And I said to her, I said, you know, I understand exactly where you're coming from, but right now this agenda is larger than your consideration of that, because we need to see more women on stage. There's so many, you know, HR conferences where I will speak, and I have young women come to me after that and say, it was so refreshing to see a woman speaker out there. And I'm like, my goodness. I mean, I wasn't even thinking of myself as that, but there is somebody watching you, getting inspired by you. And if for a second, you know, I said, just get over this whole diversity candidate thing, show them how it can be done, right?
Absolutely. And look, it's the same with getting women onto boards. There are many countries now that have quotas, and there's a requirement to put women on boards. And you know, I just did a call last week with the Harvard Executive Women on Boards alumni group, and we were having exactly this conversation. And I think the consensus was, doesn't matter how we get there, let's just get on those boards. Let's just get on the stage. Let's just get on those panels. And really, we're there because we need to be there, and it's our right to be there. And the voice and the position and the knowledge that women can bring to those forums is really important for audiences to have. So, and the more we're there, the more that we will be required and asked to be there. So whatever it takes at this stage, it has to shift. And you just don't have enough hours in the day to be doing all the speaking, Tanvi. We need more of you.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. Just to kind of wrap up what should have been 5 hours of conversation, but who is a woman speaker that you admire?
Oh, golly. Do you know, if I think about what I love in a great speaker, which is, you know, authenticity and humor and a little sort of fun and strength. There are so many. Brené Brown, who I think is extraordinary. She's a storyteller, which I love about her. Oprah Winfrey is just, she's technically one of the best speakers I've ever seen, but the passion she brings to speaking, if you've seen any of her commencement speeches, they bring you to tears. Michelle Obama, I think just one of the crazy best. She's so smart and so funny and so natural. I like Ariana Huffington. I think she speaks really well. She brings a lot of data but also great storytelling into her speaking. Sheryl Sandberg, she's very polished and very strong. There's a lot of really amazing women that I look to as role models for speaking.
Great. And with your help, we are hoping to inspire more women to step into these big stages and big conversations. So thank you so much, Christine. I really appreciate the time you have shared with us today.
You're welcome, Tanvi. It's really been nice to have a conversation. And yes, good luck to all of your listeners. I look forward to seeing you there.